Hi, Joy Horner here. And today's topic for Thoughtful Thursdays, I thought I'd do just a brief talk on post-term pregnancies and post-dates pregnancies. It's an absolutely huge topic. I'm not going to be able to fit it into 10 minutes, but I just want to give you some highlights and pointers, particularly midwives out there who are giving misinformation. And I'm not the font of all knowledge. I'm not an academic midwife, so please correct me if I say anything incorrect here. But I have been a midwife for 18 years and a nurse for however longer it is before that, since 1984. So yeah, I know a lot about a lot of things, and I've seen quite a few things in my career, as well as having done bits of research here and there, but I'm certainly not an academic midwife. So this was prompted by someone who mentioned to me that they were being harassed by their midwife, bullied even. She didn't use the word bullying, but I think I might, into having an induction because her due date was approaching. Now, the first thing we need to talk about is this due date, and hopefully you'll see on your notes we call it an EDD, which is an estimated due date or an estimated date of delivery. So it's an estimate. And what we know is some babies are fully developed at 38 weeks of gestation, counting from the last menstrual period, first day of the last menstrual period. And some babies are not fully developed until 43 weeks or 42 weeks. Before that, they wouldn't be fully developed. And we go from the basic understanding that it is the baby that starts the labour. We're still not exactly sure how this happens. We think it's something to do with baby's maturation. So when baby is mature, when its endocrine system is mature, when its adrenal glands are mature, it can actually send out hormonal signals to the woman to say, I am now fully developed and ready to be born. And the woman's body, which has been ripening and getting ready for labour, can then respond and labour can start. So on that premise that babies are born when they send out the signal and are ready to be born, and some, if we induce them at 40 weeks, would be 2 weeks before they're mature and not quite ready to come. You just need to know that not all babies take 40 weeks to mature. Not all apples ripen at the same time on a tree. And I can't remember, perhaps it was Ina May Gaskin, one of the great people that I've listened to over the years. I heard someone say this: not all the apples ripen at the same rate. They don't all ripen and all drop at the same time. Some are ripe one day and then you've got to wait a week for the next lot to be ripe, and they don't all drop at the same time. They don't all go off. If the first one ripens, 2 weeks later they haven't all gone off, have they? They're not all bad. And the same happens with our babies. And what we're frightened about is some really outdated old data. I think it was from the 1950s. Do correct me if I'm wrong. Sarah Wickham is the one to go to for this. If you Google online Sarah Wickham, or even better, get her book on induction from AIMS, the Association for the Improvement on Maternity Services, it will give you the figures and it will tell you about the stillbirth rate and how it increases. Now, if we're looking at 1950s data, this is post-war Britain. This is before, I think it's before the NHS, and it's certainly before the Peel report. Not that did us any good. But yeah, this is a very different country than it is now. We didn't have the same maternity services. We didn't have the medications we've got now. So the rates are going to be different. And we can't actually do these studies now because it would be thought unethical to do so. So let's just stop all inductions. Let's just wait and see what happens to all pregnancies. Now, there are going to be some pregnancies that go beyond 41, 42, 43, 44 weeks. And we know that some babies have problems and perhaps they can't initiate the labour. If there's a problem with the baby, if it can't initiate the labour, although I don't know if it would be better if we induced those babies, because perhaps they're the babies that would be affected by the induction process, and not fare too well. But it's rare. Normally babies take a long time to initiate labour because that's as long as they take to mature. But going back to the analogy of the tree, yeah, some apples do need a bit of a shake or a tweak to get them going sometimes, and some you have to pick. Mostly we pick our apples because we want to eat them. They're not quite like babies, but you see the analogy. Sometimes some of those apples can't actually fall, and we do need to pick them. And that might mean a planned cesarean, if labour goes on and on and on and on and on, and there are concerns about the baby's well-being. Sometimes it would be safer for a baby to be born abdominally, but not in most cases. In most cases, women's bodies work absolutely fine. Women can go into labour, and they certainly don't need sweeps. They don't need us messing around with their cervixes. Possibly introducing infection and just stirring everything up, giving them a lot of discomfort. I believe sweeps only work if the woman's body is ready, and the woman's body is only ready if she's getting signals from the baby to get ready. If her body's not ready, a sweep is absolutely useless. If the baby's not ready, it's absolutely useless. And in my time, I have done lots of sweeps at the woman's request, not mine. People desperate to get into labour when they're past 41, 42 weeks, 43 weeks. And we've done regimes of, sweeps every other day, and acupuncture and reflexology and intercourse and nipple stimulation. I haven't done those things. They've got on with those things. But they've tried everything, and I don't think it makes a jot of difference. And I think once or twice, maybe on the umpteenth attempt, and they've gone into labour, they can say, oh yes, that's the sweep that did it. I don't think it is. I think your body was just ready and the baby was just ready. So what else do I want to say about being induced? Oh, very quickly, the ageing of the placenta. And I did post an article yesterday on the ageing of the placenta, and it's something, again, that is waved at women, and midwives say you have to be induced. The rate of stillbirth goes up after 42 weeks, based on a really old study that we're not going to tell you about. And they also tell you the placenta will stop working. Like it's got a specific time that it lasts for. It's got a best before date, and then it goes off. It cannot go off because it is a living organ. It is part of the baby, and as long as the baby is healthy and well nourished and growing, then the placenta will be healthy, well nourished and growing. It is part of the baby. I don't know how to make it any more simple. I did post an article about it yesterday on my feed and on my Birthjoy site. I don't know if I shared it. I'll share it again. And apparently there's a new bit of research coming out on this, which I can't wait to read. And please, 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 when that research comes out, please tag me. Please let me know that it's out. It's the bit of research that we've been waiting for, so that women will have the ammunition to say to their care providers, because this is doctors as well as midwives, no, the placenta does not go off. It does not have an expiry date. Some placentas aren't good because the baby isn't good, as in the baby has a problem. If you have severe preeclampsia, if your baby isn't getting quite the nourishment it needs, it isn't growing well, the placenta won't look too good. The placenta won't be functioning too well. You know, they're part of the same system. And this is why we measure babies, you know, to detect the ones that aren't growing well. And why mums monitor their baby's movements really closely. And this is really important no matter what stage of pregnancy you're at. After about 28 weeks, sometimes before, your baby is moving regularly and in a pattern, and you should be aware of this. And if there's any deviation from the pattern, you contact your midwife straight away. If you can't contact your midwife straight away, you contact the hospital straight away. They should invite you in for a monitoring of the baby's heart rate, which will reassure you that all is well. 99 times out of 100, all is well. But sometimes, doesn't matter what gestation you're at, some babies get poorly. Some babies aren't doing too well. Some women get preeclampsia, and some babies are struggling. So yeah, please, please, please see your midwife straight away. If you can't get hold of her, go to the hospital and see a midwife straight away. Do not leave it overnight. Don't wait until the next day and say, oh, baby's not been moving, but perhaps it'll be moving in the morning. You know, that baby might be in trouble and might need help. So please go and get it checked out, and you'll be one of the 99 out of 100 that we say, it's all fine. They start moving as soon as we put you on the monitor. Right, so a bit of a long one today, a bit of a whistle-stop tour. But yeah, please let me know if you know any different to what I've said. But this is just my experience and common sense midwifery. Okay, see you next week. Bye.